Hello and welcome to the 1 year anniversary of my channel, which is, over 2 months late, but if I can get away with a Halloween video in November, then I can accomplish anything if I put my mind to it. So what would be good for an anniversary special? Well, how about a review of something so terrible that even I'm scared to touch it?
Remember the 3D craze back in the 90s? After the popularity and critical acclaim of games such as Mario 64 and Quake, games in 3D seemed more viable than ever. And this, of course, inspired a slew of devs to bring their latest title to 3D. Quite often, these were originally part of a 2D franchise too. Some of these games are now beloved by many, yet some take their place among the worst games ever. So, to make this leap in technology, let's just say it took a lot of bravery, and it didn't always pay off.
You can't really blame the devs though, because this was new technology and of course, not everyone knew how to use it. But it did result in some really terrible games, one of which is the game I'm going to show you today.
Allow me to introduce Simon the Sorcerer 3D, the third installment to a relatively well-liked point-and-click franchise. The previous Simon the Sorcerer games were 2D point-and-clicks made by Adventuresoft, which involved a fair amount of British humour and a certain charm to them. The first game even had Simon voiced by Chris Barry, who is best known for his role as Rimmer on Red Dwarf. While they're not my absolute favourite adventure games, the first two Simon the Sorcerers are definitely worth checking out. However, after the second game in 1995 ended on a cliffhanger, there were 7 years of absolute silence, other than a couple of puzzle spin-offs, until Simon the Sorcerer 3D finally arrived in 2002. The game had been delayed numerous times for various reasons before finally slithering out onto shelves to mostly negative reviews, unsurprisingly.
It's probably worth noting that this game was made by Headfirst Productions, and not Adventuresoft. Headfirst went on to make Call of Cthulhu Dark Corners of the Earth, which is a game I actually like. So what went wrong here? How did they make this game so bad? Well, I guess we're just gonna have to find out, aren't we? Oh, joy.
The main menu. Oh boy, this bodes well, doesn't it? The main menu is doing this flyby thing as if to say, hey, look at our fantastic technology, which probably would have worked back in the 90s, but for a 2002 release. This is like showing off a drawing of a stickman to your parent as an adult and acting like you painted one of Claude Monet's Givany garden pieces. The point is, the main menu already has me on edge. That's somewhat impressive, from a certain point of view. Oh, I am just trembling with anticipation. Or maybe that's fear. I can't really tell, to be honest. And don't you just love it when the sky is just a flat ceiling texture? Ooh, really adds that seal of quality, doesn't it?
Just breathe that quality in.
The game begins with a parody of those floating Star Wars paragraphs explaining the plot. Wow, a good job, guys. I'm pretty sure no one's ever parodied that one before. Good job. Outstanding. Just well done. Poet Laureate. Nobel Prize. The golden one. The general gist of the plot is that Simon was a guy, but then he was a wizard, but then there was an evil wizard and the evil wizard took over his body, and now the evil wizard wants a new body. And that's pretty much all you need to know. The only thing this intro is really teaching me is that people don't know how to talk properly in this game. First of all, people don't talk as if they're chewing, and secondly, what is with these head motions? Like, what even, man? It's just the same motion repeated.
Because you totally don't look stupid talking like this.
All I'm gathering is that Igor over here has made this evil guy a new body and it looks like some kind of Swedish Necron from Warhammer 40k. Now just give it a fedora and you've got Dex the Swede. Yeah.
I would comment on the voice acting, but this is all you need to know.
Are you still here?
Then we cut to some woman dragging Simon's body up a pyramid. Wait, how did she even get it? Wasn't it in the evil guy's castle? I'm so confused, but he's getting resurrected, I guess. Wow, even as a dead guy, he looks smug. Yet, no, that's impressive. Just good job, man, good job. Well, getting back on track, or at least as back on track as we can get, this guy here looks like he's made of cardboard boxes. And that's all I have to say about that. Moving on.
Oh dear.
And then Simon awakens in the aptly named Chamber of Rebirth, and apparently his vision has taken a really big hit from being dead.
I don't remember going to sleep in a...
Chamber of Rebirth?
Hey Simon, you should have gone to Specsavers. I mean, or Vision Express. I mean, I don't want to seem like I'm being sponsored or anything. Just saying.
So finally, we can now control this game, and of course, it uses the arrow keys. So I managed to drunkenly wobble around the tomb before running into... oh no. Hey, are you okay there? Are you looking for something? Okay. Glenda, the tutorial fairy, which probably isn't a real name but I never bothered to check, is here to offer helpful and friendly advice. Oh, good. Ugh, the controls of this game. If you thought Grim Fandango was awkward at times, this game will just break all of your fingers. Just snap them right off. It's like trying to defuse a bomb. You gotta be so precise with everything, and the camera is so terrible. Whoa, Simon. You feeling alright? Your neck, it's... oh god, Simon, speak to me! And then we reach the first actual puzzle, which is some kind of golem type thing. I wanted to see if I could get Simon killed, but there's some kind of invisible barrier around this thing, and when Simon walks into it, he makes a funny noise, har har har.
What? 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 Ah?
Blah blah blah, line the crystals, kill Robocop, take the key, avoid blatant Indiana Jones reference.
If you press look around and hold it down, you will see what you see through your own eyes, rather than through one of the game cameras.
You should really be talking to them, not me.
You want to go, mate? Come on then. I'll fight you behind the back of Tesco. Come on. 1v1 me. You and me. Let's do it.
But in all seriousness, there's a time and a place for fourth wall references, and they really can be done well. But this is not one of those cases. It just comes off as awkward and not at all funny, which is pretty much how the entire game is actually, so... So according to Boxman, there's a tree with forbidden fruit which you can't eat. But the game is suggesting that you should be a rebel and eat the peaches, which is apparently completing the resurrection process. Alright then, I mean, we don't want Simon Marty McFlying out of existence. Or do we? Why am I helping this unlikable git? Let's erase him right here, right now, and do the world a favour. Well, here's the peach tree. Let's take one because, well, we're clearly supposed to, and we may as well progress.
I can't reach it. I
can't reach it.
What? No. I am not accepting that. No.
Apparently, Simon doesn't have arms, or at least he's not aware that they exist. Someone telling me he has arms. His life must be really difficult. I wonder what's over here. Can't be too bad. This game already broke most of my brain cells. Oh, it's Tomb Trader. It's Tomb Trader. I don't even know what to say anymore. This game is just... I can't even put it into words. You know, hands down, my favourite part of this game is how when you run into any hard surface, it makes a cartoony impact sound. It just cracks me up, man. My second favourite part of this game is when I learnt how to dance. Well, our objective is to get this guy's yo-yo and sling the peach off a tree. Well, it seems easy enough. After eating the fruit, Simon becomes a real human being. But unfortunately, he's not a real hero. So at this point, the game opens up an overworld to explore, and this is where the game really takes a turn from being terrible to descending into the depths of hell itself. I really think the graphics need to be addressed here. Now, I'm no graphics snob. I don't really care if a game looks awkward, it's just as long as the gameplay is fun. But for crying out loud, this was 2002, the same year as Wind Waker, Morrowind, and GTA Vice City. What is this? How could anyone look at this game and think, yeah, we can ship this? It's so barren here, like the grass is just a block of green. If you're gonna make an overworld, you could at least populate it. This is like an unfinished Skyrim mod with nothing in it. You have to run everywhere, and it's just running, and that's all there is. There are telephone boxes scattered around which teleport you, but good God, you still run a lot. There's really not a lot to do in this game. You just go around in your standard adventure game fare, talking to people, collecting items, and doing jobs for people with those items, but just add an element of tedium and a lack of imagination to the mix, and then you have this game. You know what? I don't want anything to do with this anymore. I'm done. That's it. I'm done. I'm not playing any more than this. This is just twisted my arm. I'm not doing it. But seriously, What did I expect from this? It's a game that bandwagoned on the late 90s 3D craze but instead got left behind and arrived a few years late. I could never have expected this to honestly be good. I feel like the game is trying to be funny, but it trips over itself and ends up just being awkward. They even leave gaps in the dialogue sometimes as if you're supposed to laugh. I mean, why? Just why? The humour was the only opportunity this game had to be decent, but it misses more than it hits. I would have played more of this, but I honestly don't want to. Why should I bother going further? You mean you visit new areas, you meet new people, you get new clothes. The game still sucks. Simon 3D is the pure essence of failure. Failure is in pretty much every aspect. It's genuinely startling just how bad this game is. There's nothing I like about this game apart from the odd witty line, and even then, they're only really chuckle-worthy.
You know, this may be one of the worst games I've ever played. I mean, no exaggeration there. It's an absolute disgrace to the adventure genre, and maybe even to gaming in general. The humour feels so forced and awkward, the controls are clunky and horrible, and the graphics are just... like, how did that even get past its censors? It's offensive. You know, I can forgive Headfirst for this one, because they did make Call of Cthulhu Dark Corners of the Earth, which kind of redeems them a bit. But this game right here, Simon the Sorcerer 3D, can rot in hell for all I care. It's startling how bad this game is, and it's even more startling how more sequels were made after this one. Like, how? How would anyone even buy that? And that's all I have to say about Simon the Sorcerer 3D. Other than, well, I'm just glad that a 3D installment wasn't made for a more popular point-and-click franchise. Wow, I'm just glad that didn't happen. That would have been terrible. That would have just ruined my day right there. Just really glad. I mean, absolutely awful if that happened, wouldn't it?
Oh dear.
I bet you're wondering, where have I been for the past few months? Well, I can tell you. Something to do with all these... That was a bit violent. As a kid, I never played many educational games. Maybe that's because I didn't need it, or maybe that's because I was focused on other games. But one game that I did play was Zoombinis: The Logical Journey, or The Logical Journey of the Zoombinis, or the Zoombinis Maths Journey, which is the version that I have, right here.
Released in 1996, Zoombinis was an educational puzzle game where you control a ragtag group of weird-looking blueberries, each with subtle differences. These Zoombinis would not only go on adventures, but they had a tendency to get into trouble quite a lot. And that's where you come in, because, you know, there's puzzles to solve and you gotta guide them through it. The game was created by Broderbund, but the version that I have is from after they were bought out by the Learning Company.
But do you know what else I have on this? Printable activities, please. Form a line.
The story setup for this game is rather simple, which isn't a bad thing because, you know, I wasn't exactly expecting Tristram Shandy, so I think we're in the clear. Essentially, the Zoombinis got scammed by some weird guys called the Bloods, who we never see at all, into slavery? Jesus Christ! Bit of a heavy theme for a kids game, isn't it? I wonder if the sequel deals with the horrors of war. Merry Christmas, kids. Here's a diagram of mustard gas. And now they need a new home, and so they must embark on a perilous journey, or should I say, a logical journey, so that they can find somewhere new to live. Have you got that? I mean, I can back up a bit if you're a bit confused. Just wind the video back, it'll be fine. I'm still gonna be here, so don't worry about it. And so we reach Zoombinia, which is probably one of the most nostalgic places for me in gaming. And can I just say, how lovely is that background? And just the art style in general. It's like Van Gogh is about to burst through my screen like John Madden does in an Apple II game. At this point, you can create the Zoombinis. You can give them different hair, eyes, noses, and feet. These differences are mainly aesthetic, but they're important to how many the puzzles play out. 16 Zoombinis later, and we're ready to embark on our logical journey. The first puzzle you come across is the allergic cliffs. In this, you need to put the Zoombinis on the right bridge based on their features in order to let them pass. But if you choose the wrong bridge, then... This one isn't too difficult though, because you just employ some trial and error and you can work it out easy peasy. If you get too many wrong though, you'll lose all your pegs and the bridges will fall. Next up is the 4 Cave Guardians. It's a similar concept to the first one, just with 4 paths now. Also with guardians that talk back.
Go ahead.
They're all pretty cool, except for this guy here.
I can't let you in. Not all doors are open to you. They're blue.
I mean, I just want to punch him in the face, although that'd likely be unwise because it's stone and stone hurts when you punch it, generally. I mean, not that I punch stone often, but all in all, this one is just a little harder than the first puzzle, as you'd expect, really. The third puzzle is likely one that everybody remembers. I mean, if you have any nostalgia for this game, you're probably going to remember this puzzle simply because it's kind of iconic.
Fleens? You're not fleens. Huh. Whatever you are, make me a pizza!
Yes, it's the infamous pizza troll, Arno, and he wants you to make him a pizza, but he's picky. He wants his pizza done in a specific way. Come on now, didn't anyone ever tell him that beggars can't be choosers? All he tells you is whether there is something on the pizza he dislikes.
Something on that I don't like.
Or whether it needs more.
More toppings!
Meaning he likes what is already there. But for crying out loud, wouldn't it just be easy for him to say, I like this, this and that, go make it? Not to mention, he already has a machine that makes pizzas for him. Like, why didn't he just make it for himself? It's not even difficult. This is like the pinnacle of laziness. I don't even want to imagine this guy ordering a Domino's.
Hello, this is Domino's. May I take your order?
Make me a pizza!
Okay, do you want a pepperoni pizza?
More toppings!
Alright, how about some peppers as well?
Something on that I don't like.
Look, you're gonna need to help me out here. What about mushrooms? Do you like mushrooms?
Come on! More stuff!
You know what? Screw you, dude. I'm not putting up with this today.
Again, this is trial and error. See what he likes, see what he doesn't like, combine the ones he likes, and voila mon dieu.
The perfect pizza!
On another note, I really love the narrator for this game. He's just madly enthusiastic.
You did it! You saved them all! Well done, O wise and trusted guide. Hip hip Zombini! Hip hip Zombini!
This game works in blocks of 3, so after this puzzle we reach a checkpoint known as Shelter Rock. You can store Zoombinis here if necessary, and also click on things such as a bubbling cauldron, a rock man washing himself, and One of the coolest things about this game is the branching paths. One leads to the evil distant cousins of the Zoombinis, the Fleens. They may be evil, but ooh, those legs. They could drive a man to murder, I say. There's also this hotel where you sort your Zoombinis into rooms, and there's this paintball wall type thing where you need to work out where to hit the dots. I rather like that one actually, it's quite fun. After taking either path, you will get to another save point. This is pretty much how the entire game is. 3 lots of 3 puzzles and then a checkpoint. The interesting thing about this game though is how beating it once isn't winning. You haven't truly won until all the Zoombinis have crossed from their original home to Zoombiniton. The catch is it gets harder each time. In the next difficulty, the cliffs look for 2 qualities. The Guardians get more complex.
Welcome.
Here we go again.
And a second pizza troll appears. This time you've got to put ice cream there as well. The first time round is easy, but as the game gets harder, you start to lose Zoombinis more frequently. I mean, I'm not even a kid anymore, and I was still failing some of the harder puzzles. The worst of it comes with this bloody hotel. It's easy the first time around, but the second time I couldn't get my head around it. I didn't know what to do. I lost so many Zoombinis, it's heartbreaking. After beating it once, the logical journey quickly becomes a real challenge, and not just for kids, but for adults too, which is incredibly commendable because most kids' games are really, really easy. But Zoombinis don't mess around, you turn your back, you get the balls. Where is this going again? Something about this game is utterly charming. Maybe it's the graphics, maybe it's the puzzles, maybe it's the humour, but I just love this game. Even now I love it. I don't know why, it's just brilliant. It's weird because educational games kind of lose their touch as we get older, but you know, this one really hasn't. I can still enjoy it even now. The puzzles are still challenging if you get far enough, and the graphics are charming, and it's just an overall fun game to play, which is weird because it's for kids. I'm not the target audience for this. I mean, sure, the puzzles can get a bit samey at points because they're based on the same system. It's all the features. That's basically the selling point of the game, but, you know, it's still fun. You can't just nitpick. Why would you nitpick? What are you doing that for? I don't care what you think. So in the end, I highly recommend that you check this out. Or don't. I'm not your mother. Am I? Hey? See, she doesn't think so. Whoa. Hey, look at this guy. This skeleton. What am I supposed to do with this? How do I introduce this? Well, it's Halloween. I may or may not be on time. And I'm reviewing Phantasmagoria 2. So that's what's going on with me. Do you need to know anything else? Do I need to explain why? No? I don't know what to do. Oh, Phantasmagoria, how we adore you. Or hate you, you know what, I never quite decided. Perhaps the most infamous FMV game of all time, Phantasmagoria is set up to be a horror movie in game form, but what we got was certainly horrifying. JPEG cars, a stock demon possession story, and the graceful anger of Dawn. But in the end, for all its shortcomings, Phantasmagoria was fun. It's a pretty weird and kinda bad game, but it's so entertaining to watch. The acting sucked, sure, and everything looked, well, bad, but I just like it, and I still can't place why. And like with all things that get noticed, Phantasmagoria got a sequel. And I call it a sequel, but it's so different that it might as well be a different game entirely. Phantasmagoria 2, A Puzzle of Flesh was released in 1996, 1 year after the first game. And it's really quite odd, as this game doesn't follow the story of the first one at all. That's why I can't quite call it a sequel, because it's kinda not. You'll see what I mean. Roberta Williams wasn't involved with this project either, and that makes me wonder how well this game actually did. The answer, it got scores like 3.7 out of 10 and 2.5 out of 5. Does this bode well? I actually have no idea. So, without any further ado, welcome to the long-awaited sequel of Phantasmagoria. So grab your popcorn and your Halloween costumes, because it's about to get spooky up in this joint. Someone turn down that clock? Is that loud? The game begins in a mental hospital with our protagonist, Curtis Craig, having a psychotic episode. Some kind of operation is done, presumably electrotherapy, I don't know exactly what it is. And then we get a title sequence with this music. I expected spooky. I got boogie. Also, if you change this music, this could easily be a sitcom intro. No one told you life was gonna be this way. 1 year later, and our hero wakes up and puts his trousers on way too high. You proud of your socks, mate, or are you just doing a Simon Cowell impression? Well, right off the bat, I do see something I like. No 3D rendered backgrounds. I think we can all agree that the first game's background looks really unrealistic, like almost Toonstruck levels, except, you know, not intentional. Nope, this game is done entirely in FMV. No computer wizardry here, apart from a few effects here and there. And we're still a point and click, so I don't really know how to analyze gameplay here. It's a point and click. Although one big thing is, I miss my little skeleton dude in the corner. He was great.
You still have me.
Oh no! Do you mind? I'm busy.
Oh, okay.
So we do our daily things like checking mail and all that jazz, and some kind of postcard arrives that makes Curtis smile. Good. Apparently it's a sexy postcard. Okay, ew, I'm going to have this person charged with harassment. I didn't expect to have to do that today. Who are they? I'll have their head, French Revolution style. However, one weird thing that bothers me is that Curtis stands kind of awkwardly. I mean, it's better than the Ali Ermi stance of Phantasmagoria 1, don't get me wrong, but, I mean, is he okay? Does he have a rat in his trousers? Oh yeah, Curtis does have a rat, by the way. A rat called Blob.
So I guess you could call this game A Boy and His Blob. I'm not funny. I'm not funny, am I?
Apparently his rat stole his wallets. The rat stole his wallets and hid it under the sofa. I don't understand. And you have to use the rat to get it back.
All right, you little snot. You drag my wallet under there, you can just go bring it back.
No, you fool, you've given it a chance to escape. There's nuts under that couch, it won't come out at all. Well, there you go, now you've done it. You're ratless and walletless. What a state to be in. Luckily for Mr. Craig, both of these problems are solved with a granola bar, and you couldn't even make this up. You bribe a rat to bring you a wallet by giving it a granola bar. I mean, I would have gone for the nuts myself, but hey, each their own. So with the wallet conundrum dealt with, Curtis can go to work and chat with his colleagues and his boss.
And the less I see of Paul Allen Warner, the happier I'll be.
No, that's not my joke to make.
We also have Curtis's girlfriend, Jocelyn.
I love you.
We have this average Joe guy called Tom. I mean, this guy is so average, I almost feel bad for him. It's like he's marked for death. And another one of Curtis's colleagues is a very flirty woman called Therese. Spelled like this, which is too many E's for my liking. You can't trust someone with so many E's in the name. Take that from me. Also, she's the one who sent the postcard. Lady, this is unacceptable. I'm gonna bring the guillotine over here right now. It's coming over, and we're gonna do this Anne Boleyn style. After all, my true love in this game has not been shown yet. First, however, we need to say hi to Balrog the Master, I mean Bob. It's Bob.
Forget it, rat boy. They wouldn't help you anyway. We both know that I'm the one that's gonna get that big promotion, so, piss off.
Oof, corporate warfare. It's vicious these days. You should have seen the prank that Curtis pulled on Bob the other day. Oof. I don't think his tie will ever leave that desk.
Now it's time for the best character ever. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce you to Trevor.
Well, good morning, Sleeping Beauty. Yeah, a likely story. Yeah, you just couldn't haul your lazy butt out of bed, huh? Huh? Don't you go there. Don't go there. I'll have to see you later, mean boy.
That's what you call a sass overload. I mean, I can't handle it. It's too much sass. It's too much. I've got to take this hat off.
Seriously though, Trevor's really funny. I actually enjoy watching this character. He's my true love in this game. I like watching him. And it's sad because you know what happens in Phantasmagoria games. Any character who I like dies. I'm gonna miss you, Mike. I'm gonna miss you. Then, while checking emails, Curtis gets sucker punched by his PC. That's a new one. Never heard of that happening before. And now we have the classic horror trope phrase when you want to ask whether someone else has experienced something supernatural while not looking like a lunatic.
Have you seen anything weird today?
You mean aside from the guy with the kleptomaniac rat? No, nothing at all. That's all fine. I don't see anything wrong with it.
You know, I mean, at least Trevor is kind of supportive about this. I mean, you can count on Trevor. He's not only funny, he's a really nice guy. Oh hey, Mr. Warner's absent from his office. This is an opportune time to go rifling through his things. Oh, never mind. We share an awkward scene, and then...
I was just looking for a Word 8 manual.
Is that all?
Yes, that's all.
I'll have the systems group send one to you right away.
Great. Thanks.
Goodbye now.
Curtis' PC begins to have other issues too. First of all, it plays a movie which makes Curtis cry, and it also grabs Curtis by the face.
Look, I'm no expert on this subject, but you might want to run a virus scan. Just saying.
So really, Curtis is going pretty loopy, hearing voices and stuff. I mean, it could just be dreams, but who knows? But luckily, a bit of lunch with Trevor is good to clear our head. What would we do without Trevor? After fiddling around in the network room and responding to some emails, we then revisit the network room and find Mrs. Too Many E's.
I want your flesh. And your sweat.
Oh, is that all? I mean, you only need to ask. I've got a supply of them in my fridge somewhere, I think.
Really, the early parts of this game I'm just not interested in. It's about office stuff and relationship stuff and talking to people about reports and documents. Oh, God.
Look, I'm here for 2 reasons. 1 is the horror, 2, Trevor.
Say goodbye to your hard drive, asshole.
Oh, Bob. It's going to take ages to get those Minesweeper scores back. The next day, Curtis wakes up, does his morning routine, and then we go to Wintech, and we find that Bob is dead. Brutally murdered, it seems. A detective asks Curtis a few questions, and then we see a duplicate of Curtis just, like, eating the body.
Please stop it.
Public service announcement. Don't eat eyes. That goes for all of you too. Just don't eat them. I don't think you're supposed to. I don't think.
Logically, this shakes up the crew a bit and they take some time off to clear their heads. Then everybody says a little bit to Curtis and then Tom comes back and...
Where'd everybody go?
Soon we can go poking around in our boss's office again, and get caught. Again. Mr. Warner is getting more and more suspicious by the minute though. I mean, would you trust a guy who has bleeding photos? I mean, I can't get behind that idea, man. Photos aren't supposed to bleed, they're just pictures. You're meant to look at them and they're like, oh yeah, I remember the Christmas party of 1994.
Don't make the same mistakes your father made, boy. I would hate to have to lose you.
Totally not a serial killer. I can trust him completely. Bleeding photo? Nah. Doesn't even matter. Just leave it. Everyone has bleeding photos these days. It's the norm.
We all know by now that Curtis is going a little crazy, and he's probably really insane, you know, so he goes to a therapist and talks out his issues, which we don't need to hear today. Anyway, Therese told Curtis to meet up at this club called the Borderline, and upon going there, we see this.
Get out of here.
I just want to have a drink with my friends.
I said get out of here.
Okay, is this going to get explained at all? I mean, did anyone else see that? That happened, didn't it? No, seriously, what is this? Everything I know is a lie. Oh no. It's one of these places. No, I can't show this. No, let's just find Therese and move on.
Excuse me. Could you tell me if... Wanna play?
Okay, no, actually, I left my oven on. I've got to leave. The rat's stolen all the granola bars. He's wised up to the situation. I've got to go. Are you in here? Okay, no, that's definitely not what I want. Oh, I'm lost. I am so lost. I need an adult. Please, just someone come and collect me. Oh, finally found Therese. Oh, thank God. You know what? I love how awkward these in-between FMV scenes are. It's like... So, nice weather we're having. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, things get heated pretty quickly. Curtis gets drugged and, things happen. After a clearly action-packed night, Curtis wakes up, and this is the first thing we see.
Oh. There goes my appetite.
Bridget's Books is proud to welcome best-selling author Adrienne Delaney. Ms. Delaney will be signing copies of her latest book, Coping with Loss.
Well, I guess that confirms that Phantasmagoria 1 and 2 are set in the same universe, and Adrienne wrote a book called Coping with Loss. I mean, yeah, she did lose her husband to an evil demonic possession that also possessed a magician years in the past and also murdered loads of innocent people. So, yeah, she didn't do too badly for herself, did she? Most of what happens to Curtis, like hallucinations and office work. It's not that interesting, but there's a few great lines here and there. My personal highlight is this crazy guy.
There's my taco salad! There's it!
Of course we get more Trevor time and more therapist time. To be honest, I love the therapist's expression. She's kind of just like, man, when will this guy shut up? Back at the apartment, our stalker friend Therese shows up and...
I'm not so sure about this, Therese.
No, me neither. Bye, I'm going. Just... There's no door here.
And then Tom gets murdered. You know what? I actually like that guy. Dang it. Why did he have to be nice? All the nice people get killed by inexplicably floating sledgehammers. Just a thing. The detective on this case seems really quite suspicious of Curtis, and who knows, maybe Curtis did do those murders. She is quite harsh, though.
You have to listen to me.
I don't have to listen to Dick.
Why? You got something against Richard? I'll have you know, Richard is an upstanding gentleman. He's one of my favourites. Up there with... Jim.
You know what, I don't know why I'm continuing to explain this game. I'm not going to totally spoil everything because I'd be here all day if I talked about everything. So I'm just going to pick some highlights until I get to the end of this game. Now the main thing you need to know here is that Jocelyn figures out that Curtis and Therese are... liaising. Is that a word? Trevor gets Warner's password for Curtis, and Curtis explores the inner workings of Wintech and realizes that the dude has been feeding crazy people to a green light. Because that's what bosses do, right?
Teresa's gonna eat you alive, Pop-Tart.
Oh god, why does it keep having to do these scenes? More of them. Just censor it. And then Therese dies. She gets... stabbed or something. Whatever. Of course Curtis is incriminated, and who can blame the detective? Curtis is the only good lead here. He knew all of the victims, he's been at each scene of the crime, and he's also slightly crazy. So, you know, even I'm convinced. Also, Curtis's therapist winds up dead too. Well, I say dead, more like just a melted pile of flesh. It's not pleasant. Actually, it's quite gross. Also, aliens. I think. Now let me introduce you to the greatest security guard ever.
Hey! Jesus, Doc.
I mean, this is all fine as long as Trevor remains okay. I mean, Trevor's the best character in this game, and if anything happened to him, I don't know what I'd do. I think I'd stop playing. There's no point playing if there's no Trevor.
And here he is now. Good old Trevor. Well, okay, I mean, I didn't want to be happy anyway. Let's just get to the end of the game now. There's not much to look forward to, but... whatever. All I'm really gonna say is aliens, and more hallucinations, but, you know, mostly aliens, or interdimensional Curtis alien. Why? Now if you'll excuse me, I need to look incredibly chroma keyed.
This is a weird game.
What even is Phantasmagoria 2? It's barely connected to the first game apart from one throwaway reference. It's an adventure game, but barely. The puzzles are incredibly sparse, and it's really just one big movie. And you know what? It's not half bad. It's certainly a budgeted product of the 90s, but the actors are okay, and that's a rare thing for FMV. And you know, the effects aren't even too shabby. And the story, unlike the first game, is actually pretty interesting and somewhat original. You know, I can see where it's got low scores, but I actually like this more than the first game. It gives very X-Files-y vibes. And you know what? That's really cool.
It's still weird as heck, it's still cheesy as all hell, and it's still really fun to watch. So you know what? It's still Phantasmagoria, and really, you can't fault it for that. It's just fun. And I like it. My advice this year is not to be an interdimensional alien who kills people. That would be a bad thing to do. Anyway, happy Halloween. Have fun and stuff. You gotta love the holiday season and all it brings. And one thing it does bring is holiday specials. Now some of them are sentimental and profound, some of them are silly and over the top, and some of them are just freaking weird. So buckle up everyone, because today we're gonna visit a Ghost of Christmas Past. The Star Wars Holiday Special. Oh dear.
Lots of people are talking about Star Wars at the moment, mostly because of the teaser for the new film coming out next year. It's all pretty exciting. Crossguard sabers, X-Wings, and whatever this thing is.
I really don't know how that thing works, but I love it. And I want one for Christmas.
But we're not here to talk about that. Oh, no, no, no. What I'm here to talk about is the exalted Star Wars Holiday Special. Now, let's be honest here. Did Star Wars need a holiday special? Because of all the things which could have had a holiday special, Star Wars is one of the least likely. I can't even think of something that would work less. Lord of the Rings, maybe? Actually, scratch that. Gimli making a snowman with Legolas is definitely something we need. Someone get on that.
Anyway, this 1978 Christmas special features the cast from the original Star Wars trilogy, a few newbies, and it has been described as something that could have been written by a sentient bag of cocaine. So you know we're in for a treat today, and without further ado, let's begin.
The story begins with the Millennium Falcon escaping from some Imperial Star Destroyers. There's not much else you could ask for at the beginning of a Star Wars story, so this is good, I think. Apparently Chewie needs to get home for Life Day, which I guess is the equivalent of Christmas. So we've got a Discworld Hogswatch situation here, really. This whole scene is fine. It's got the character banter, space battles, and so on. We can't complain about this. Then we get a title sequence and we go to Chewbacca's home. And this is Chewbacca's home.
Someone hear a fly? I think I hear a fly. I'm ready for you.
Okay, first of all, what kind of noise is that? I know it's meant to be a spaceship, but what? Never mind. Then we get jump scared by Old Man Wookiee, and...
Do you know why Chewbacca not speaking English worked in the original trilogy? It's because the other characters understood him. Now here, you just have two Wookiees speaking. When you have dialogue between two Wookiees, how are you supposed to know what they're saying?
And did I mention, everything looks horrifying. Both the child and the old man look like something that would give kids nightmares. The weirdest part of this whole opening is that it's like they're just an average American family. These kind of scenes wouldn't be completely out of place in a cheesy family Christmas movie. That's just bizarre. The mother's just like, that darn rapscallion. I don't know. I don't know what I'm looking at here.
By the way, the kid's called Lumpy. Just a heads up.
Lumpy goes to, presumably, take out the bin, and then he... Oh no, Lumpy, you've got so much to live for, don't do it! Oh, nah, he's just walking along an incredibly precarious railing. Joyous. Oh no, Chewbacca hasn't made it back for Christmas. What a tragedy.
You know, I'm just gonna throw this out there. Lumpy sounds like a cat that's about to throw up. I mean, I have 3 cats, so I know that sound very well.
Now, are you all ready for a form of entertainment? Because I don't think anything can prepare you for this.
And that's just a fraction of it. There's a whole platoon of crazy gymnasts doing crazy things. I don't even know anymore. But that was only a part. I only showed you a part of what the whole thing was. God help us all.
Okay, so after whatever the hell that was, Luke talks to Chewie's family. Thank God. I needed a familiar face to free me from this insanity. Luke looks different. It might be the hair, it might be he's wearing makeup. I don't know. You okay, Luke? Oh well. Chewbacca's absence is explained to Luke, and Luke is all, nah, he'll be fine.
Come on, Mala, let's see a little smile. Come on.
That's better.
I feel very uncomfortable right now.
No! R2! What are you doing? What?
Finally, we leave Chewie's family and visit some guy on a trading post, who is talking to a sinister mustachioed Imperial officer.
Which is, in my experience, the best kind of Imperial officer.
A pocket-sized aquarium. Wonderful, isn't it?
You know, just so we're on the same page, This is Star Wars. This, what you're seeing, it's that. It's Star Wars.
I hate fish.
What we learn from here is that Vader is looking for the rebels, again, and Chewie's wife watches cookery programs. But it's not just any cookery program. It's this.
So, and on the count of what? Stir, whip, 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 stir. Stir, whip, 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 stir. Come on, faster all together now. Cooking can be fun. Stir, whip, 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 stir.
I don't know if I'm ready for this. Just give me some time. Give me some time, okay?
Finally, some action. And yeah, this is alright, I can handle this. The effects are pretty much in line with the movies, and the banter is pretty good too. Although Harrison Ford does sound a little disinterested.
This is one life they won't soon forget. Wait, I lost control of the remote cannons.
Oh no, I lost control of the remote cannons. We could die at any moment. So the Empire sets up martial law, and just so you know it's a Christmas special, there are gift exchanges. Lumpy gets a Commodore 64, Chewie's wife gets... I don't know what that is. And Itchy, the old Wookiee, gets, oh.
Oh, it's a real, it's kind of hard to explain. It's a, wow. You know what
I really hope this isn't going where I think it's going.
I'm getting your message. Are you getting mine? Oh, we are excited, aren't we? Well, just relax. Just relax. Yeah. Now, we can have a good time.
No, God, please, I do not want to disturb this old man's private time. What he does in his own time, stays in his own time, and I can't take that away from him. Yo, for real though, why she have crystal hair? I don't get it.
If I could just hold my breath.
This has been on for 30 minutes so far, and the only thing that I've received is trauma and confusion.
Then Marla, Chewie's wife, talks to Leia and 3PO and announces the situation, which seems like a really pointless scene because Han and Chewie seem to arrive shortly afterwards anyway, and here they are now.
Aren't you guys a little short for Han and Chewie?
Your identification?
I said...
Your identification?
Oh, identification, yes. It's a very important thing, identification. I never leave the shop without my identification. It's very important, just in times like this. I just found my identification. I think it's in my pocket there.
This guy reminds me of me.
Oh, also, that picture you're looking at right now was taken quite a few years ago. That's one of me. I've gained quite a bit of weight since then.
Sorry, do you want to repeat that?
This box is fascinating. Hold up, is that Jefferson Starship? They exist in the Star Wars universe. I mean, I knew they were old, but they existed a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. They don't get the credit for that, do they? But forget that, because Lumpy's put on his Dr. Dre's, and he's gonna listen to some sick beats.
Oh man, the music that kids listen to these days is really weird. Then we get a break from this to see a cartoon that's got like Boba Fett in it and stuff. And it's alright, but I don't really care about it, so I'm not gonna bother showing it. If you wanna watch it, just look it up yourself. I don't care.
The Empire trashed the poor Wookiee kid's room, because he's clearly a threat. Actually, I'm serious. Lumpy creates a fake Imperial commander voice to lure away the officers from his home, with the help of this robot.
Let's get started, shall we?
Then there's a cantina scene that I don't quite understand, with this lady, and she sings, and... what? Lumpy gets busted, but Han and Chewie arrive to save the day, and
Okay, but seriously, that stormtrooper was never even touched. He literally just threw himself off that balcony. He threw himself off it. How do you even do that? How do you throw yourself? That doesn't work. Physically. And emotionally. And mentally.
throwing herself off a balcony. Just stormtrooper things. Then things get all sappy and family-oriented, but you know, it's a Christmas special. That's a given, really. So the Wookiees go to the Tree of Life and wear red robes, and that's confusing.
So, Wookiees don't wear clothes, but they have the concept of clothes, and they choose in most times of the year not to wear clothes. Man. So they're naked all the time. Wookiees are naked all the time, and they are completely aware that they are indeed naked all the time. Wish I could get away with being that naked.
It is indeed true that at times like this, Artu and I wish that we were more than just mechanical beings, and were really alive, so that we could share your feelings with you.
3PO, you feel despair and hopelessness on a daily basis. Is that not good enough for you anymore? So, Leia gives a speech and Luke is there, I guess, and then Leia sings because everyone sings as if, God damn it, I'm done. Well, it's over. It's finally over.
I think my pulse has slowed down significantly. Maybe slipping into a coma.
I'm not exactly sure what to make of this TV special. It's so bizarre and detached from the Star Wars universe. It feels more like 70s Doctor Who, and even that's a stretch. It just has some really, really strange things that just don't make any sense whatsoever. I mean, the original cast is there, but my brain just hurts.
You know, for the first time, something has left me completely speechless. I mean, what do you even say to something like this? How are you supposed to react? Maybe I should spend my holiday wisely next year. This was not a good decision at all. Oh well. Hope everyone has a good holiday season, I guess. Hope you all get whatever you want out of it. Because I didn't. Anyway, I'm just gonna go get back on with my, Oh, that's Richard O'Brien. I wonder what that could mean.
If I were to ask somebody what their favourite maze was, chances are they'd look at me weird. Nobody asks that. What kind of person asks what type of maze they like? But if I was to ask, I can guarantee that some people would say the crystal maze. I mean, personally, I'd go for mandrill maze, but I mean, that's just me. And it does tend to give people nightmares.
This is all it is. It's just mandrills.
Oh. Masterpiece.
Does anyone else remember the Crystal Maze? It's a little before my time, but I did watch some reruns when I was younger. You had 6 contenders tackling incredibly mundane challenges in 4 themed areas to get these tiny crystal balls. These would then enable the people to swing their arms around in a big glass dome and potentially get their hands on a cash prize. Although I do wonder, where's the maze? I mean, I see the crystals, but I can't find the mazes. I mean, maybe they're in the challenges, but this baffles me. There is simply no maze in sight, and I'm disappointed. This show is about as 90s as you could get. Actiony, synthy music, amazing haircuts, and Richard O'Brien's leopard skin coat. I love it. It just reeked of that cheesy 90s stench. You know, the one that smells like light-up shoes and Tim Allen.
And of course they made a game out of it. For DOS. Yeah. I don't see anything that could possibly go wrong here.
The game starts off with something. I don't quite understand what this screen is. It looks a bit like a menu. Maybe it's a logo? I honestly can't tell. You could probably pass it off as modern art though. After waiting for a little while, we then see the show's title card with the appropriate music, and that's fair enough. And now we reach an interface thing. Presumably this is a menu. I mean, it does say set up at the bottom, and that has to mean something, right? I don't know what's going on here though. Where's Richard O'Brien? Isn't he gonna guide me? I'm gonna feel lonely without him. Anyway, let's click something and hope it's right.
I'm glad I'm looking at this.
These are my characters to pick from? I don't want to play as any of these people. They're all deformed and stuff. I guess, like the show, I need 6 people to put through torture and potentially trap them in a dungeon for an eternity. So I guess we'll go for this Sinister 6. Although not that Sinister 6, that's, sorry, I didn't mean to cause confusion. We have Mullet Strongjaw, leader of the group. Smart Man, the man who is smart. Mrs. Yellow Collar, her collar is yellow. Girl, maybe Bruce Campbell. And this guy, I guess. True to form, the first area is Aztec. And apparently, we have 4 types of challenge available. I think this is Atlas, you know the guy who shrugged once? There's telekinesis. I mean, that's also telekinesis, I think. And there's searching for people with giant fingers. I'm guessing the first one is a strength test, so heck, let's just put someone on it. The crystal lies ahead. Oh dear. Okay, I'm not even sure what to say here. The controls were completely unclear. I tried lots of buttons on my keyboard, but you know, nothing happened. And our friend just sailed straight into the water after I pressed a button. I don't know what to say to that. It's perfect. Okay, I want to give this game the benefit of the doubt. I just need to figure out the controls, right? Should be fine after that. Now, let's put Smart Man on the balls. I mean,
Whoa! Slow down. We're all adults here. We can talk this out reasonably. Like reasonable people.
Look, 3 Stonehead guys, we've just met. We can't even say we're friends. When you give demands like this to a completely stranger, you can't expect me to obey. Just be reasonable. Buy me a drink first. The concept of this game is simple enough. Just roll a d20 into the mouth of these gods. Unfortunately, the actual controls are not simple. You play with a mouse and it's so painfully sensitive. And not to mention, inverted. The timing has to be so precise and I just can't do that. You're asking too much of me here. I'm one man. I'm no hero. And I'm trapped. I'm sorry, Smart Man.
I did all I could, son.
Next up, the brain challenge. Okay, so it's like this tile thing, and no tile can be adjacent with another tile of the same colour or symbol. I don't feel like I had enough time to probably figure this out though, so now I've lost another person. You know, I'm starting to sense a pattern with these games. Welcome to Ocean Zone, where all you can hear is water and sonar maybe. Yeah. You know, besides a little in-between jingles and selecting people for challenges, there's not a huge amount of music in this game. It feels kind of empty and soulless.
Just like me.
Alright, so now let's allow Mullet Strongdraw to solve a mystery. He's clearly the man for the job. Oh, okay, so we're working out where a crystal is. That's actually quite easy. It's literally just trial and error. Well, I have 1 crystal now, so we're on the right track. And that track is mediocrity. Our friend Mullet seems to be pretty good at these, so let's put him on a brain task. Oh, it's a game of memory. That's really difficult.
What's up with these challenges? They're either far too hard or far too easy. There's no mid-ground, and they're not even unique. They're just like carbon copies of other games. It sucks. It really sucks.
Alright, Mullet, you've given us 2 crystals, so let's try for a hat trick. So, what do I do here? I understand that I have to maneuver over this plank, but I don't know how to move up and down. No arrow keys, no W and S, not even Q and A like ZX Spectrum games. What do I do here? I just want to get across this oscilloscope plank, but the game just doesn't want any of it. On the bright side, Mullet wasn't trapped. I mean, that's pretty good. We still got our main man. Okay, now we're in Medieval Zone. And you know, I think it's time for Mullet to solve a mystery. And our hint is 2 vessels surrounded by the same. What does that even mean? I mean, a boat surrounded by boats? I eventually figured out it was a vase, and I guess it was right. Our next clue is, could stop an arrow. Well, technically a lot of things in this room could stop an arrow, but whatever. It's the shield, probably. And the next clue is, any last requests?
You're threatening me, Crystal Maze.
And due to the shenanigans of the game, I lost Mullet. I didn't even like Mullet anyway. I mean, he doesn't even have a mullet. That's more of like a flat top than anything else. We don't allow liars on our team. He deserves to be trapped in that cluttered, low-quality room. And yeah, that room was low quality, so I could barely make anything out. Great.
I can't imagine a worse hell.
I guess this means it's time to put this guy on the brain challenge. Okay, can't fail. Good, fine. And he's trapped. Who's surprised? Not me. Still on 2 crystals. Oh, that's great. You know what? I'm not even enthusiastic about these people anymore. I had a crossbow minigame, but I failed because of the inverted mouse again. But hey, at least it told me to mind the breeze. You know, the breeze inside this enclosed room. And now it's time for Future Zone. There was a game of Snake, and I still don't know the controls. There was another Hidden Objects game, and I still don't know how to do hidden object games. And there's a game where I had to turn out lights. I couldn't turn out the lights. Like, I couldn't. I couldn't turn out the lights. Luckily, you can't have all your people trapped, so now it's time for the final area. Oh yeah, baby, let's put those 2 crystals to good use. So, I needed to get as many gold tickets as possible, with silvers being penalties, and I got a grand total of 4. And it says, oh well, better luck next time.
Hey, Crystal Maze, look. You can't just assume there'll be a next time. In fact, don't assume. Because if you assume, you make an ass out of you and me. Look it up, it's real. It's a real thing, it's a real thing, just look it up. What was I even expecting? This is a licensed DOS game. It was doomed from the start. You know what? I'm going to go in for another run. I'm going to beat 4 points. I'm going to prove to this game that I am not worthy of a better luck next time. I am worthy of so much more than that, and I am good, I guess. So.
Playing more allowed me to learn the controls, which by the way are Z, X, semicolon, and question mark. So finally, after more practice, I managed to still only get 2 crystals. But in the final challenge, I can do better, because I know what I'm going in for this time. I got a silver thing, which means -1 point, so I got 4 again. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Fine. I mean, I didn't want to do well anyway. Not like I promised myself I would do better. My high score was meant to say H.G. Wells, but I got upset.
No, I'm not wearing it. There's a heat wave going on. I don't want to die. There's your reason. Sierra have made a lot of my absolute favourite adventure games, from Gabriel Knight to King's Quests. My love of them just knows no bounds. What people don't realise, however, is that Sierra have done a lot of titles that are quite obscure and don't get a lot of recognition now. And one of these games is the game I'm covering today, called Mixed Up Fairy Tales.
Sierra adventures are largely eclectic when it comes to genres. Some are comedic, some are fantasy, some are sci-fi, some are horror, and so on. But there have been multiple educational Sierra titles as well, and these rarely seem to get talked about by anyone. Mixed Up Fairy Tales is the fairy tale-based 1991 successor to the 1987 game Mixed Up Mother Goose, which had you working out nursery rhymes. I've not played that one myself, but this is in the 1995 deluxe edition of the game, so it's bound to be really good.
Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again.
And also this.
That is objectively the best game ever. I'm sad that we're not playing this one today. Hopefully Mixed Up Fairy Tales has some fun stuff in it as well. Let's just go and do it.
To start with, I need to choose a child to play as. Pretty impressive diversity for a 1991 game, don't you think? I chose this one here. He looks like he knows something important, and that's a commanding and authoritative look to wear. I like it a lot. As for his name, well, it's Drumple. I'm not going to beat around the bush. His name is Drumple. Also, it's nice to see that Noah from The Walking Dead is an available option. The game begins in a library, and the librarian tells Drumple that he has 5 minutes to pick out a book. As soon as she says that, the Abraham Lincoln painting blows a bubble, a book falls off the shelf, and a dragon appears.
And might I add, that is one incredibly well-dressed dragon. I mean, I've seen no finer. He has a pink fez. Do you? Didn't think so.
The dragon, called Bookworm, tells Drumple that the fairy tales have become mixed up, and Drumple needs to get inside the book and work things out. I don't see why Bookworm can't do it. What, was it because you were in The Hobbit? You Benedict Cumberbatch? Has fame gotten the better of you? You're now using child labour to do you? That's disgusting. That's absolutely vile of you to do that. Shame on you. Shame on you, Benedict Cumberbatch. Also, I'm starting to think this is an allegory for stranger danger. I mean, just look at the way the dragon stares at you alongside the needlessly foreboding music. Someone help me, I've been abducted by a creepy dragon! Interestingly, as this is a kid's game, the verbs have been boiled down to do and see.
And if you think about it, that's all we have in life. Do and see.
There's also no inventory system and a map. They're nice little touches and they stop the game from being too complex for the young'uns, and I gotta say, this is actually kinda cool. So the first thing we see is a woman just standing around. Turns out it's Snow White, and she's looking for the dwarves. So I have to select a story, and she follows me. I head back to the left, and yeah, he just doesn't give one, does he? Oh, what? Yeah, fix the fairy tales, I got some rays to catch, bro. Ugh, why is this so slow? I mean, it's a Sierra game, so I'll just crank up the speed a bit.
Oh, there's no speed option. There's no speed option.
Guess we'll just have to put up with this then. After a bit of wandering, I found the House of the Dwarves, and I'm greeted by, Jontron, apparently? Well, I guess I can go find some other trouble to get into now. That escort mission was disturbingly easy.
I wasn't even gone a minute, and she's dead. Not even 30 seconds had passed. It's like I delivered her right to the grave.
After this, Jontron tells me to go get the prince. Yeah, the prince will save Snow White. He must be incredibly competent and, tied to a tree. Nice day for walking, isn't it?
You serious? How did you... Really?
It's kind of hard to find the girl of my dreams while tied to this tree, I guess.
Yeah, I guess it is.
Apparently a little man came out and told him to count to 10, and when he finished counting, he was tied to the tree.
That's, what's wrong with you? I mean, fine, you know what? You're a perfect match for Mrs. I'm dead in 5 minutes, so I'll sort you out, set you up on a date. Corpse will be there. Not very nice, but it'll get done, alright? It'll get done.
You're the only one I'll ever love. Pity you're dead. You have to kiss her. Drum Paul, are you sure I have to kiss her?
Just do it! And then the prince kissed her to bring her back with the kiss of true love. But it didn't work because she was dead.
You know, that's just gross. I don't condone that kind of stuff. Not to mention, not exactly consensual, is it?
You know what? Y'all are nasty chewing on necrophilia. I'm out of here. That's just disgusting.
That's the first story over with. Oh boy.
There's also a Cinderella story. Oh, I'll never meet Prince Charming now. My life is ruined.
Oh, hon, there's more to life than boys. For instance, Plato. Ooh.
After the ball, you witness this.
My god, you look disgusting. Looks like something the cat threw up.
So this fella is called Bookend, and he's basically being a proper DH to everybody and trying to ruin all the stories. The only way this character could be any worse is if they gave him a fedora and some seriously sketchy opinions on women's rights. There's also Jack and the Beanstalk, where you find the beans, plant them, and Jack just acrobats his way to the sky. Haha, see ya mate, you have no idea what's up there, do you? When I head back there, he's all panicking like, oh geez dude, I messed up, I upset the giant, oh geez man, oh heck. So I give him his axe, and he takes a little nick out the beanstalk, and the giant plummets, and everyone is happy about it. Listen, they're even playing Ode to Joy. That song has joy in the title, and of course, the cliche, everyone lived happily ever after. I mean, apart from the giant, ain't nobody want to be friends with him anymore. You see what he did, Drumple? You see now? You ruined that giant's life. Of course, there's also Beauty and the Beast. Or in this version, Beauty and the organ that has no business being this loud. So you know the story. Girl loves monster for his heart and he becomes a human. Although in this version, the human guy looks a bit like a serial killer. Don't worry, Beauty. You'll be safe in my castle. The final story is about the Bremen town musicians, which is about animals that sing, I guess. Oh, sounds really good. So you gather them up, take them to a shack somewhere, and these two guys are bragging about the things they've stolen. I'm not sure where this plot point came from, but alright. The animals decide to sing because they think they're good guys for some reason, and this guy, well, he just leaves existence. He just thought, nah, I'm going out into the void, can't handle this. And his friend does exactly the same thing.
It's like poetry, you know, sort of, they rhyme.
So then, Bookworm turns up in a Sherlock Holmes outfit and tells me the book got stolen.
Throughout this whole game, you do nothing but lounge around. Absolutely unbelievable. And now that DH has gone in and stolen the book. You're terrible. You're absolutely terrible.
Also, you guys didn't believe me when I told you that he was Benedict Cumberbatch, did you? Well, there he is, in a Sherlock costume. I wouldn't lie to you. Alright, bookend you knob. I'm gonna put an end to your shenanigans. Hey, I got it. Now nobody will read this book again.
Guess he wasn't bluffing, he crashed the game and killed all the fairy tales. I mean, he's a pretty good villain, 10 out of 10. Practically the Empire Strikes Back of the Sierra franchise.
Mixed Up Fairy Tales was actually kind of cute and fun to play. It's got the Sierra mark behind it, but it definitely feels like a Sierra Light, for the lack of a better term. As ridiculous as some of the scenes were in this game, I actually did have fun playing it.
Sometimes you need something short and sweet to lighten the mood, and this did the job pretty well, I think. Long live Drumpel. What a lad. When you think of the fantasy genre, chances are you think of something like Baldur's Gate or Elder Scrolls, which are RPGs. But point and clicks can be fantasy as well. I honestly couldn't think of a better way to segue into this one. I'm doing a fantasy point and click called Dragonsphere, so, I mean, you've probably read the title.
Today we're talking about Dragonsphere, a game created by Microprose in 1994, alongside their lineup of Return of the Phantom and Rex Nebula and the Cosmic Gender Bender. Anyway, it's worth noting first of all that this game is actually free on GOG, whereas on Steam, it's £5. Let's be honest, GOG is just superior. Bow down before your Polish overlords.
That was the kick-ass in Polish, thank you!
Anyway, I'm getting off track. Dragonsphere is a fantasy game where an evil sorcerer threatens the lands, and so, as the king, you must go on a quest to beat him. Wow, that sounds, yeah, original. The intro is a prequel in a way, showing how the sorcerer called Samway got trapped in this bubble of magic. And I don't know what these mounts are, but good god, they look awesome. Anyone else reminded of the Guar from Morrowind?
Move over, horses. These guys are way cooler.
The wizard is brave, my son. Watch carefully. I especially love the cinematic shots here. This all looks great, honestly. Pixel art on point. The good wizard of the kingdom traps Samway with his spell, and on their way back to the castle, Samway appears creepily in the sky and basically tells them he'll be back. I mean, you could have, like, you know, kept the surprise. That they wouldn't have prepared for it then. I mean, you might have done a bit better for yourself if you'd not told them. The good wizard simply says he lies, but his text is tiny, which is really funny to me because the other two have already ridden off and he just kind of says it quietly. He lies. And then we cut to the king dying, and our protagonist Kalash is crowned king. But as you sleep, a dark shadow enters the room and you wake up. What was that about? I don't know. But apparently the king's presence is requested in the council chamber due to it stirring in the titular Dragonsphere. And I suppose that's kind of a prophetic artifact. I mean, it's a ball with a dragon in it. It tells you things. Alternatively, I could just lay here. That's much easier than saving a kingdom. One of the dialogue options is, let me sleep. We'll destroy the sorcerer another day.
Can't hit snooze when destiny awaits, man.
I think I definitely need to point out the smooth animations here. I mean, just look. Damn. That's smooth. Okay, so interface-wise, the first thing I notice is verbs, and let me tell you, I love me some verbs in adventure games. But there aren't just general verbs, there are item-specific verbs as well. It's like verb heaven over here. I can even polish my ring.
Now this is true gaming right here.
Essentially, Kalash is sent to go on this quest and beat up Sanwi because it's been 20 years since he said, I'll be back in 20 years.
He might have been bluffing though. I mean, what if you get there and he's like, oh, did I say that 20 years ago? Geez, it's been a long time. I forgot about it. It could happen.
Unfortunately, the wizard who defeated Sanwi has gone missing, so it's all up to you. No help from the quiet wizard here.
He lied.
You can grab a few things from the castle before you leave, including a goblet and a bone from the dining room, and you can gnaw the bone. Also, in the council chamber, your wife and mother hand you a sword and a shield stone, which I guess is a magical stone that makes a shield. I mean, just a guess. I'm a little disturbed by some weird things going on in the castle though. First of all, your shady brother called McMahon, which is a terrible name, is sat on the throne being all, oh, I might have this someday.
After all, the throne will someday be mine, Kalash.
Let's be honest, you'd be kind of shady too if your name was McMahon and you had a brother called Kalash who was like totally badass and stuff.
And their mother looks evil. I mean, she just does.
She has a serious case of resting Disney villain face.
So at this point, you're ready to go on your quest. Now this is quite interesting, seeing as these characters inhabiting the market square give you useful information for your quest, and even ask you to visit their people. There's a shapeshifter who claims his people are misunderstood, there's a man of Soptus Ecliptus, a pale white and black-eyed race of people, and there's a fairy. You actually gotta help these guys and learn a bit about them to get useful items. I mean, you could go straight for Sanwi's bubble, but you gotta stock up first. You can't just, you know, go straight for the sorcerer. He's probably got stuff. Probably got like, I don't know, dogs, maybe. But like demon dogs, you know. So first of all, I decided to head to the desert and speak with the guy in charge of the Soptus Ecliptus, the Caliph. Although all I find is this one Soptus guy sitting here.
Maybe.
Yeah, okay, so there's a language barrier here. This dude speaks the Soptus language and basically tests you on it. The first thing he asks you is, actually, are you seeking death? And, well, no, we're not actually seeking death. While we don't want death, we do want to visit the Soptus settlement. So when he says,
Soptus?
You say yes, and he gives directions.
Follow.
How do we know which direction is which? It's in another language after all. Well, there's a guy in another area of the game who explains how Soptus directions work, but, I mean, I'll cover that area later.
Words in their language can mean other things. Fala can also mean dark, south, and life.
So in my playthrough, we only had Fala 4 times. And this means south 4 times.
Honestly, this is pretty cool, like working out a language as part of the game. I like that a lot. It's not something that you see done often.
It's not often that you see this kind of thing done in a game, so it's pretty awesome here actually. So after following directions, you come to a shaman and you heed his wise words and move along to meet the Caliph. The Caliph has this goofy beard and this dumb grin. I hate it. Looks dumb. You look dumb. And so then we have to play a game which is literally just chance. You basically have 4 gems and you have to predict which gems are coming out of a bag. Not exactly sure if I can be bothered to explain this, but you need 16 points and it's just tiring. The worst part about this though is the fact that the Caliph never shuts up and he says the same lines over and over.
Very good. As long as you are success, very good. As long as you are very good. As long as very good. As long as very good. As long as very good.
This isn't necessary. Please chill out.
And then there's this losing line.
By the rising sun, I have failed.
Essentially here, you need to win 9 times in order to get 3 prizes. This is not a good part of the game. It's frustrating, it's boring, it's annoying. I mean, especially if he keeps winning. The fact that it's just random chance is just really irritating. It just pads out the game. What's the point?
Well, you know, surely this is the only time where you have to play that stupid minigame. Right?
Another possible location is Bryn Fan, home to the fairies. They challenge you with going through the forest maze and speaking to the Mushroom King.
Yeah, the Mushroom King.
The forest maze itself is just weird, and it's also just a corridor. I mean, I don't really think you can class that as a maze, if I'm being honest with you. There are some sprites floating around, and I'm not talking like, you know, 2D pixel art sprites. I mean like, you know, the fairy ones. And they all have startlingly ordinary names.
My name is Ralph.
I just kept talking to them and eventually they cleared off.
That happens a lot in real life too.
And then we reach the Mushroom King, and all he does is act weird and ask a lot of questions. And then he's like, yeah, you're pretty chill, and he tells you some things you need to know. Which is good. I mean, I'm more interested in this crown surrounded by giant toads, though. I wonder if we can pick that up. Well then. This is probably a good time to mention that, a lot like Sierra games, there are deaths in this game. But unlike Sierra games, you don't need to reload. You're just put back to a previous safe area. This actually made me understand why Sierra games can be quite harsh, because then death actually means something. Here it's just pretty pointless, just happened. It's just a bit of fun. It's not actually a punishment. The next area, which I mentioned earlier, is Slaithen ni Patan, and this is where the shapeshifters come from. It's an incredibly bizarre place, and it's awesome to look at, especially with this top-notch pixel art. Also worth noting is that some of the people here are trees, and some of them are rocks. And I mean good on them for transitioning into what they identify as. There's actually some kind of Lovecraftian beast here, and the way to defeat it is through a magic bubble. Yeah, the shield stone from earlier, basically. He'll be safe in there. I mean, apart from the fact that we did cut off a couple of his tentacles. He'll be fine without them. They're superfluous tentacles.
Alright, Kalash, so there's a shapeshifter right here, and you know, that guy said that they're kind of discriminated against, so just act natural, try not to say anything that could be construed as racist, and I think we'll be fine.
You're the first normal-looking person I've met here.
So the old guy gives you a polystone and then tells you to enter the cave of shifting dreams. And there you see, I don't know. Is this supposed to be helpful? After you leave the third area, you're ready to fight Sanwi in the big battle, but not before the Queen and the evil mum have a chat.
Then there is more time? Yes. Now go to the courtyard and play at javelins, my dear. It will calm your nerves.
Yes, go throw some pointy sticks, that'll help you relax.
So here we enter the domain of Sanwi, and we're completely prepped to take this sucker out. But we do have to do a few things first. For instance, one thing we need to do is get an amulet from this lass called Lainey de Summers, who just wants to help out. She seems pretty badass, but the noble king is like, no, I must do this alone. Apparently, the amulet only works when the wearer is pronounced dead. Oh, alright, that's useful, isn't it? We also find this old man in a cave who, well, he claims to be a hermit. Wait, this all makes sense now. The wizard who went missing, the mysterious cloak, the shadow at the beginning of the game. I know who you are.
You're Obi-Wan Kenobi, aren't you? Old Ben.
Okay, yeah, it's the wizard. Although we don't actually know that yet. And some bird person starts chatting about power stones, so there's that. And then you climb up a cliff a bit more and you come across a monster. And Lainey straight just tackles the guy off the cliff. Like, dude, I had a sword. Like, maybe that would have worked better.
Lady! I had a sword! Nope, she's gone.
In order to get into the tower, you need to talk to some vines. I mean, not like stupid humor in 6 seconds vines. I mean like talking magical vines that want you dead. I mean, those are the two main types of vines. In Samwi's castle, you face some trials and traps, all while looting his magical booty. Wait, no, that came out wrong. I'm not into wizards, I'm sorry. Also at this part, you can use the superfluous tentacles from earlier to roll up a magic portal.
You know, I love it. You literally just roll up the portal like it's a rug. 10 out of 10.
After all that, you go and fight Sanwi, and he claims to sense powerful magic on you. But you're not that magical, so what on earth is he?
You what, mate?
This whole time, you haven't even been the king. You've been a shifter all along, and you've been put in place to challenge Sanwi instead of the real king. What a twist! And it's not like it's completely unexpected. There are hints that point to that direction, and yet it's still shocking. But first, we still need to beat the Sorcerer, and as Sanwi is taking away our magic spheres, we transform the Polystone, the shapeshifter item, into a fake magic sphere so that we can keep one of them. So then Sanwi's all, oh, I'm just going to just dispose of you in a moment while I throw all these magic balls into the thing, and oh, looks like I throw my own magic ball into the thing and now you're dead, rip Sanwi. Who can say where the road goes, mate? So you know, that's it, right? We may not be the king, but we defeated the threat to the kingdom. But guess what? The real threat is back home. As it turns out, the obviously evil Mum and McMahon are obviously evil, and they have trapped the real king. The entire thing was a conspiracy to get us, the shapeshifter king, killed so that McMahon could rule as the Queen Mother's puppet. So it's kind of like a Joffrey Cersei thing. So who are we now? I guess that's something we need to find out. And so we nick some stuff from Sanwi's room.
What? He's dead? It's finders keepers now. I've got a bone with some feathers on it. And he doesn't have it anymore. Get wrecked.
We then leave the tower and we have to jump across these pillars to get a belt as part of a challenge that the weird bird people gave me. It would have been a difficult thing to do, but Samwi left us a map. Pretty nice of him, really. The belt that we get from this basically means that you can fall from any distance. So like, it's aperture signed to something. Anyway, we test the belt automatically, and blindly, might I add. The only proof you have is the word of these creepy bird people. Would you believe them? I don't know if I would. Let's see if creepy Uncle Obi-Wan has anything interesting to say. Hold on a second, is that Lainey? Oh, she's dying, huh? Well, I mean, she's done a crumpled mess like the other guy. That's impressive. So the old man reveals himself to be the wizard, and yeah, no one saw that coming. You then learn that you have powers that allow you to heal people, or yourself, which is good, I guess. So why do I need this? Oh yeah, the girl, right, yeah, sorry. She blends in with the background a little bit here, and I keep forgetting she's there. So, you know, then you save with poetry.
Well, I mean, how else are you gonna do it?
And then she doesn't know who you are because you aren't the booming king she met before. You convince her that you were the fake king all along, and she comes to a very important realization that's actually really integral to the plot.
You mean that king wasn't the king? It was you? In Sorcerer? So that means you're not married to the queen.
Like, literally, her first thought is, wait. So you're single now.
Priorities, Lenny. I don't even know who I bloody am, and you're already trying to jump on me. Simmer down, lass. I've got a bloody conspiracy to unravel here. For crying out loud. From here, we need to return to the desert and... oh, God. Oh, no. They recognize who I am. No, I have to play more of this stupid game. I actually think it's harder this time around. This just takes so long. It's such a bad part of the game. Why? Why do they have to put it in twice?
And we're finally through that mini-game for the second time, and we won't have to do it again, no. Provided that there's no death scene within the next 30 seconds that can put you back to before the mini-game. There's not one of those, is there?
Oh, it's wonderful. I feel dizzy. Stronger than I thought. Drank too much.
Oh my, are you all right? Too much you drank. Oh my.
Oh, dead.
It pushed me back to before I got all the prizes.
It's so funny.
Whose idea was this? No, seriously, I don't mind cruel death, but don't put them directly after an annoying and time-consuming segment that's already frustrating. That's just sadistic. That's pure evil. Basically, the Caliph gives you an item called Soporific, which is too strong for the average person to drink, apparently. To avoid this death, you need to heal yourself quickly. Basically, the Caliph poisons you.
Soporific.
I will hurt you for this. I don't know how yet, but give me time. A day will come when you think yourself safe and happy, and suddenly your joy will turn to ashes in your mouth, and you'll know the debt is paid. So after this, we visit Fairyland again, and we use a jar of flies to distract the giant toads, and we steal the crown. Don't know why we need the crown, but we have it now, so get wrecked, toads. And we also return to Slaith and Neepatan, which, if you remember, is the place where the shapeshifters come from. So this is like answers, right? Who am I? Where am I from? What do I like? What's my favourite type of cheese? Hopefully it's brie. Well, you kind of find out. Not the cheese part, but the other things. But first things first, there are guards here who are looking for you. So you poison them with the stuff that the Caliph gave you. Wow, that is stone cold. So first of all, you get a new vision in that weird cave. It's still weird. I still don't get it. But then you can access the shapeshifter village and you find out that your name is Pid Shuffle.
Pid Shuffle? That sounds like a £5 indie game that you'd buy in like the winter sale, and then you'd forget about it, and then about a year later you'd think, where did this Pid Shuffle game come from? And then you'd play it for about 45 minutes and you'd be like, oh, this game's alright, but then you won't ever touch it again. You'll just leave it installed for a while, and then you'll eventually uninstall it, and then you'll just think, game's okay, but you'll talk about it on forums maybe. You'll say, it's an okay game, but you only played it for 45 minutes.
You also found out that you were taken from this village by the Queen Mother, so that's quite interesting. I'm like a shape-shifting detective who wants to find out his past. Well, it's high time that we rescue the King's Soul. Oh yeah, we need to rescue the King's Soul apparently. We have to do that now. And to do this, you have to go to the spirit world through the shaman in the desert, and you have to go through some trials. And did I mention that Pid has the ability to turn into animals? Because he does. And it's kind of weird because he can turn into a snake. Look, in my experience, it's usually bad guys who turn into snakes. The King's Soul here is being represented by an egg thing, which is being protected by a giant bird. The bird's been eating some stuff, so we remove the food source, feed it something incredibly sticky, and then we watch it suffer.
Wow, I am a terrible person. Well, might as well embrace it.
Okay, so now we return to the castle. There's some other stuff that you have to do, but I can't be bothered to get into that. What's important, however, is that you turn into a goddamn bear to free the king from the ice. And then you disintegrate McMahon with the amulet that Lainey gave you earlier. But how does that work? I'm not dead. Wait a second.
Say your prayers, both of you, for you are already dead.
The mad mage who made this amulet said that its true powers could only be used after the wearer had been pronounced dead.
For you are already dead.
Ah, now that's clever. Or maybe it's a little bit weird. I don't know. Also, he straight up just turns into bones and his brother just doesn't even care. Good to see the real familial love here. Not even the mother really gives one. The game ends with Lainey turning up with an army, Pid and Lainey marrying and becoming heirs to the throne.
That's kind of weird if you think about it. Like, imagine getting adopted by the guy who you used to think that you were. That's a bit weird, isn't it?
Dragonsphere is a truly fun game. Okay, it's far from perfect, the voice acting is incredibly sketchy.
Why do you crave this boon?
And, of course, there is the Caliph.
Very good. As long as you are success, very good. As long as you are...
But this game's twist took it from generic street to original avenue. That's a terrible line. It's free on GOG as well, so you might as well give it a go.
Oh, you might not need to give it a go because I pretty much spoiled everything and covered the entire game. Oh well. It's Christmas, and you know what that means. An unconventional video from me. But Christmas also coincides with the anniversary of my channel. So we're also going to celebrate the 3-year anniversary of this channel alongside Christmas. Now how about that?
The first video I ever did was on a Doom mod called Zanzan. And oh my god, that was a bad video.
There we go. Oh god, what is that? So a giant frog just died. Okay.
Not only did I completely butcher my audio quality, but the jokes completely fell flat and they mostly just amounted to references. That being said, I thought, hey, it's my anniversary and it's Christmas, so let's pay tribute to both Doom mods and Christmas in one video. Now, Doom mods are all over the place, and from here I'll refer to them as WADs, because that's the file extension that they use, and that's what everyone in the Doom community calls them. It's also worth noting that I'm running these in GZ Doom, so if something doesn't work properly, it's probably something to do with that. There's loads of types of Doom. There's like Z Doom, GZ Doom, Boom. Just stuff ending in generally.
So I'm finding a bunch of Christmas-themed Doom mods, and I'm going to play them. And it'll be a good time. Hopefully. I mean, most of them are just weird, so I don't know.
First up, Head-to-Head Christmas, which is actually included in Doom World's top 100 WADs of all time. The menu pointer for this WAD is what looks to be a small two-headed green Nazi with a knife and a gun.
That's when you know you're in for the good stuff.
And in this one, you play as Santa. Good choice, I mean, he's the guy you want around at Christmas. He's always there that time of year, so you know, he's a convenient guy. Although in this screen, it kind of looks like he's trapped in some kind of purgatory and forced to dance. What did he do? He doesn't deserve that. Free Santa 2015. So, going in, I mean, it just looked like Doom. But if we pan down slightly, we see good old Mr. Claus, and he's looking, just really peeved at everything.
But gosh, I am so peeved right now. He is peeved. Hey, bro. You're cruising for a bruising.
Wow, I guess they don't leave out milk and cookies in hell, do they?
And honestly, all we've really got here is Doom set to Christmas music with some new levels and you're playing as Santa. There are some Christmas decorations spread around, like for instance this room full of trees. Wait, what's the use of this? That's far too many trees. Who decorated? Was it this guy? I can assure you, you probably shouldn't have used that guy. Now the Archvile, now he knows how to decorate a room. I really love these intermission screens though.
I think we all have room for more badass Santa in our lives.
Open!
Open!
Alright, calm down, Santa. It's just a door.
There's not a whole lot more to this one, apart from Santa's death sound.
Oh, my face!
Next on the Christmas list is How the Hamburglar Stole Christmas. And with a title like that, you know you're in for something, something. You know, sometimes you just look at something and you think, but why though?
Oh god! Oh my god, what? You know what, I'm with this guy down here. Put some pants on, dude. This is incredibly disturbing. Okay, you know what, let's just get into this one. I mean, it can't be much worse than the title screen, can it?
Oh my god! What's wrong with your face?
Is that meant to be the Hamburglar? Am I seeing it this way? It just looks like Doom Guy with the mumps.
Man, I don't want to look at this. Get it away. What are you smiling at? With a face like that, you've got nothing to smile about, mate.
Surprisingly, despite the weirdness of its presentation, this one is actually pretty good. Well, for some reason there's an Egyptian theme going on, but the maps are really well made and stuff. Good difficulty and everything. Kinda wish there was more Christmas going on though, so the search for the perfect Christmas map continues.
You know, these are some decent maps, it's just a shame about the whole face thing.
Next up is Mori Christmas. You get it because the guy who made it is called Katamori and it's like Merry, you know, whatever. The best part about this one is the background won't send you to therapy. I'm gonna have nightmares about that Hamburglar, ugh. Well, in this one you're just the bog standard Doom guy, but hey, the demons are feeling pretty festive. They've got little Christmas hats on and they throw snowballs. It's kinda cute really. And oh look, they've decorated with a Christmas tree. And dead bodies, but well, they are demons. You got to give them some credit for at least trying, haven't you? The main issue with this one is that it's really difficult. Like, I press one switch and suddenly I'm attacked by Hell Knights and an Archvile, and he keeps resurrecting stuff, and then there's, oh my god, Mancubuses? What the hell's going on? They look like they've been rolling in coal. Why are they so dark grey? This is just too much, man. Can't handle this one. Too much. Good mapping, though.
The next one is called Christmas 2004. You got to admire the simplicity of it, don't you? Oh my god. Is that real? I mean... Yep. No, I'm seeing that right.
There's no two ways about it. Santa is straight up indulging on the devil's lettuce. I mean, I suppose if you don't want to leave milk and cookies, he might enjoy a bloody joint. Okay, let's just play this one. Oh god. So in this one you're shooting criminals as Santa. Nothing says Christmas like violent vigilante justice.
You know, something doesn't seem quite right about gunning down a lot of human beings to the tune of I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus.
Oh my god, I found him. It's Wally, or Waldo. I mean, it doesn't matter what you call. Come on, come home. Your family's waiting, dude. Get off these streets quick before Santa gets too blazed and guns you down. I don't even know where to go on this one. I tried no-clipping and yeah, I couldn't find anything. Oh well, I suppose this Christmas massacre had to end somewhere. You see, dude, this is the danger of smoking weed.
You know, before weed, Santa was an upstanding human being. Every year, he'd deliver toys to kids. He'd make them himself. In this workshop, he had these little men that do it for him. I mean, that's such a great thing to do, but then after injecting one marijuana, only just the one, he's gone and gunned down a load of people. Please just share this on Facebook so we can end this epidemic once and for all. I'm sure all the middle-aged mothers out there will appreciate my help.
Honestly, I think I know why Santa was trapped in purgatory earlier. For his sins. Last on the agenda is a WAD called Xmas DM2 2015.WAD. I couldn't really find too much out about this one, so let's just get into it. I mean, first of all, the background's pretty good, so, you know, we got that going for us.
Why does it have to be so loud? Turn it down.
Okay, so I don't see why that gun volume is necessary. Good god. Well, this seems pretty average so far.
Is that a walking present shooting at me? You know, no, I signed up for this, that's fine. I just brought this on myself. No, it's okay, I'm okay.
You know, it's nice to see that in this house they watch a looping gif of the Grinch every Christmas.
Ooh, yeah, that's a classic, that one.
Also, is anyone going to explain why there's a painting of George Washington on the wall? No? No? Nobody? Okay, no. So where do I even go? There's an arrow pointing into the fireplace, but that fire looks like a real hazard. Like, geez, we want a cozy Christmas atmosphere here, not a portal to the depths of hell. Oh well, if we've got nowhere else to go, might as well go up here.
I just killed Santa, and he turned into an egg. What a rotten way to die. What a shame.
And are these tiny Christmas ninjas? What? Why? But why?
I feel remorse for my actions. Those were screams of pure agony.
Oh, the Cake Demon's a bauble. He is a bauble and he shoots baubles. This is wrong on so many levels. Oh god, is that a giant floating snowman torso with a hat? Yeah, okay, I mean, why does he shoot fireballs there? Wouldn't that melt you? Is that where your legs went? Did you melt your legs off, mate? And so the Earth reclaims what we took, as is the cycle. Oh hey, is that a snowplow?
Wow. You know, I don't think I've ever been so let down by something.
And then suddenly... Wait, what? I didn't realise Doom maps could change their music partway through.
Also, is the unsettling music really that necessary? Okay, it's necessary.
Oh, those are reindeer with 2 legs running at me. Oh, I can't do it, man. This isn't fair.
Is that an angel with a neckbeard dropping Christmas decorations on me?
You know, I'm sorry, man. I didn't realise this would happen. You don't have to look at me like that, though. That is literally a ghoul from the Ghouls Forest series. They are some of the scariest things in gaming, and they literally just put it in a McDonald's hat.
You know what, I'm out. There's only so much perfection you can get in your life before you just need to go lie down somewhere and just think about things and potentially just sleep forever.
Well, Christmas in Doom is certainly a strange place. We've seen some pretty weird stuff, and some pretty dank stuff, but I'm sure we all learned a serious message here, and that message is don't pass Santa the weed for the love of God.
So recently I ran a poll on my social media that basically said, what game should I do next? And I provided a list and people voted on it. They were all point and clicks that people hadn't really heard of, but people still voted, so whatever.
As it turned out, the most popular choice by far was Call of Cthulhu Shadow of the Comet, so that's what I'm going to be reviewing. And also last Halloween, I kinda didn't do a horror point and click, so hey, I felt like doing one now.
When I saw that I was going to be reviewing a Lovecraft game, I thought, what a great pick, man.
For those who aren't aware, H.P. Lovecraft was the horror writer behind the whole Cthulhu mythos. His brand of cosmic horror has been hugely influential throughout the years, and you'd be hard-pressed to have not watched, played, or read something influenced by his work to some degree. Video games especially have seen plenty of Lovecraftian tributes within them. Games like Bloodborne, Amnesia, and Eternal Darkness all owe a lot of their stylistic choices to that one strange man and his writings. That being said, games that take place directly in the Cthulhu mythos are a little bit harder to come by. Probably the most famous example of this is Headfirst's Call of Cthulhu Dark Corners of the Earth, a survival horror game based on Lovecraft's Shadow over Innsmouth. But there are also 2 point-and-click adventures that bear the Call of Cthulhu title, and these are Shadow of the Comet and Prisoner of Ice, the former of which is what we're covering today. Shadow of the Comet was released by Infogrames in 1993 and uses elements from 2 Lovecraft works, namely The Dunrick Horror and Shadow over Innsmouth. And in the game you play as a photographer called John Parker.
I'm trying to think of a Spider-Man joke, but it's just not coming to me right now.
The game begins by showing the story of a man named Boloskin and how he went insane. In some ways it's kinda creepy and ominous, but at the same time you also have things like this.
I think he would have liked to see his works donated to the British Museum.
What could he be looking at? Judging from his expression, it's probably fan art from that side of the Undertale fandom. And there's also moments like this. Honestly, I don't really blame that guy for leaving. I'd be out of there in a second if I saw some guy break off part of a door with his face.
Doctor, come back. I must show you this.
What can I say? I just wanted some privacy. Bit of asylum action, if you know what I mean.
The intro also shows us some shots of a comet going past various things, and at one point this guy gets totally lit, bro. Although trust me, this is not the way you want to get lit. He really misunderstood the concept. So then we see an office, I guess? Apparently it's the Office of British Scientific News.
Tell me, 76 years after the Boleskine business, you really think...
Do I really think what? What? Do I really think what? Okay, you're just gonna have a cigar? Alright, yeah, okay, that's fine.
Nah, take your time, dude. Sentences can be really difficult to come up with. I get that.
The intro tells us one thing about the game right off the bat here, that it's full to the brim with awkward pauses. Like every single line of dialogue has an uncomfortable silence afterwards if you don't skip it. Basically, as Parker, you've been sent to snap some pics of Halley's Comet, and find out whether the crazy guy at the beginning of the game is actually onto something. The town you're sent to is a place called Illsmouth, which is a completely not clever variation on the classic Lovecraftian town Innsmouth. Basically, if a town has a similar name to that, you don't want to be there. In Shadow over Innsmouth, Lovecraft writes about something called the Innsmouth look, which basically indicates that the people of Innsmouth have a slight fishiness to their appearance. So will there be an Illsmouth look? I don't know, but there is this guy. He could probably be this fish. Essentially, you're left to your own devices at the town, but to start with, you're given a few menial tasks. For example, buying photography equipment because the company you work for couldn't send you what you needed. The other goal is to look at whether or not a 12-year-old written about in Boleskines journals is alive after 76 years. And given that this game is set in 1910, I don't actually hold high hopes for this guy.
If the child was 12 years of age in 1834, he's 88 today. There's a chance he's still alive.
Well, you can't fault the guy's optimism, can you?
So after this, I run into these two guys at a fence. I mean, I talked to one of them once and he told me to back off.
Alright, just give me a second, I'll get going. Oh! Oh no! Oh, that's not a must, is it?
Poor Parker, so young, and already in the next world.
This is like probably the most off-guard an adventure game death has ever caught me. I didn't even realise I was in danger. And to top it all off, the subtitles in the game over screen call the main character Carter instead of Parker. I'm amazed. I think this death can mostly be owed to the game's weird controls. Like, it's a point and click, but not a traditional one by any means. You pick up objects on a line of sight basis, like an actual visible line of sight. And while you can use the mouse in this game, it's actually very awkward to use. Would you actually believe that the arrow keys are the more convenient option here? Also, quite often objects will just interact automatically, and that's frustrating to me as a point and click player because I often manage to work out the solution only to be thrown off by the fact that clicking the object does nothing. You have to be stood in the correct place to properly do certain actions, and it's just annoying. Not to mention it causes things to happen automatically sometimes, like that death from earlier.
No one can say I didn't warn him.
Anyway, this game really does have some interesting characters. For instance, I really love Mr. Jug the Librarian. He's just a guy who loves books. I mean, a bit too much, but it's great.
Books are my passion, Mr. Parker. My most precious companions. Silent, discreet, sometimes filled with mystery.
I mean, seriously though, I love him. I've never seen a character take so much joy in anything.
Indeed, to be frank, I can't get our last conversation off my mind.
Oh, I'll bet you can't, you handsome librarian, you.
So, like, where's the Parker/Jug fanfiction at? I just need it for reasons.
The daughter of the pharmacist also cracks me up because she basically flirts with Parker, but her dad shuts her down.
Come whenever you want, Mr. Parker.
Hold on to your horses, Mary.
There's also this total Bible basher lady who says she'll never give up her Bible, but then you entice her with a shiny object and she gives it up.
I'm pretty sure Jesus would be pretty displeased about that.
I mean, how could you disappoint his face? I mean, look at him. Just smile. Look at the lightsaber.
And I think Dr. Cobble deserves an honorary mention too for this great line.
Holy cow, no.
But I digress, because we're here for weird happenings, right? I mean, the only weird thing that's happened so far is this dog. So you find out that the 12-year-old that Boleskine wrote about is alive 76 years later and living in a dirty fish shack. I mean, given the average life expectancy of someone in 1910, this is a little bit out there.
Who knew that the key to healthy life was old fish.
So you basically find out from this old guy that you need to access a cross in the woods somewhere, but being a dirty foreigner, we need a guide. The first guy we approach is a guy called Nathan Tyler, who is literally Jack Nicholson. Like, literally Jack Nicholson. Literally. The bad news is his prices are too steep. The good news is that we find another guide getting beaten up outside the bar.
Isn't life just full of surprises?
The guy even offers to carry a tripod, which is pretty nice of him, except for the fact that he kinda forgets to give it back to you when you get to your destination. You dick. So how are we supposed to take pictures now? Well, with 3 sticks, naturally.
The game up until this point is really slow, but here is when it begins to heat up.
Basically, you come across this ceremony in the woods, but wait, there's people there that you know. There's Jack Nicholson, and he's with a Native American?
Behold! Look up there! We are being observed.
It looks like the Native Americans spotted us. Would have been nice if we didn't stand out in the open like a doof.
Poor Parker. So young, and already in the next world.
Here's a pro tip from me. If you come across a weird ceremony at night, just stay away because chances are they'll probably just incinerate you with some kind of magic, and you don't want that.
Well, that's dumb. How do I avoid this then? As it turns out, you have to mash the right arrow key while in this screen to move behind a tree quickly. There is absolutely no indication that you can do this. This is something I just had to look up. The screen just looks like a cutscene, and there's no real way that someone would know to move right. Game design, everybody. Anyway, even if you hide, you're still spotted, but this time you snatch a piece of paper and leg it back to the town just before going to sleep.
I feel you, Parker.
When Parker awakens, he's in his bed being cared for by Dr. Cobble, and it kinda looks like he gets turned into some kind of bed centaur. Regardless, Cobble gives you a prescription for heart medication. Yeah, no joke. There is a puzzle in this game where you pick up your heart medication. I mean, all I've really done so far is talk to a bunch of old people and develop heart problems. I mean, I thought I was playing Shadow of the Comet, but it turns out I'm just playing Shadow of the bloody retirement home. I can't wait for the sequel. Apparently there's some epic hip replacement action in that one. After that, you genuinely have a heart attack because one of the photos you took turned out to be horrifying. Just, what even, man?
Because I play video games to simulate heart problems.
In Monkey Island, you get to be a pirate. In King's Quest, you get to be a king. Shadow of the Comet, you get to have heart attacks. On another note, this game looks really weird at times. Like, graphically it's not that bad, but it feels wildly inconsistent. Like, some areas look pretty good, but some just look like a game from the NES. It's such a weird juxtaposition, especially with the rotoscope styles of the close-ups. And also, what's with the sky? It looks like the background of a school photo. But then, shock horror, something terrible happens. We go to visit our librarian friend, but something's wrong. But surely he isn't.
No, not my favourite librarian. How could you? Shadow of the Comet, why?
You know, why is it that whenever I like a character in a horror game, they get killed off? First there was Mike. I'm gonna miss you, Mike. And then there was Trevor. Like, why did it have to be Trevor? And now we've lost Jug. This is an outrage. Librarians are a beautiful race of people. They don't deserve this. You know what? Now I'm in business. Give me monsters. I was here for monsters. All I've received so far is heart attacks and heartbreaks. I demand Lovecraftian beasts. But first, I've got to check out this candle. Yeah, that's definitely a candle. So then someone tries to knock down the door. So how do I escape?
Now, let's just hope this thing works. Otherwise... Where am I? Where am I?
I just crash landed next to a dancing bear. This is probably the greatest game ever made. But I still can't seem to find any monsters. Look how antsy Parker's getting. His close-up changed to a really damn sinister one. So where might we find some monsters? Maybe the cemetery. And it looks like that was a good call because this creepy looking place just happens to be underneath it all. And I mean, here is a monster. Well, he's just chilling. Nothing wrong with that guy. I mean, a photograph gives Parker a heart attack, but this guy, he's cool. Can't fault that guy. So this part of the game is basically this massive labyrinth, and why does there always have to be a labyrinth in adventure games? That's just one thing I never got. Like, no one enjoys labyrinths. Just stop with them. But once you get to the end of it, you find this.
Alright, I'm sorry dude, let me just get out of your hell. Just go.
I mean, I'll just take these statues. I hope you don't mind. Alright, I'm going. Jeez.
Well, I'm out. Not talking to that guy. No.
You know, apparently this isn't worthy of a heart attack either. Nope, you ain't getting me alive. Oh, you okay, mate? You look like you could do with some chamomile tea.
I think right here is a good cut-off point for spoilers in this game. I mean, this game, it takes ages to actually get anywhere, but the payoff's just not worth it.
Shadow of the Comet overall has a decent atmosphere, but the story isn't as engaging as I would have wanted. The ending to this game is kind of disappointing to me as well. It's kind of expected of a Lovecraft protagonist to go a little bit insane by the end, but without spoiling too much, the game doesn't actually do that. The entire game comes across really weirdly as well. The entire thing feels experimental in terms of graphics and controls, and it's certainly a unique experience. I just don't think it's that great. The most worthwhile thing in this game is Jug, but we all know what happens there. Grief is hard to accept, but with time we can persevere. When you lose someone, you should celebrate who they were and why they meant so much, because then a person is really cemented in eternity.